What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for stopping by the channel. So today, let's take a look at one of the subscribers has sent me this information. It's so interesting that they sent it to me because I was already kind of researching it. And so let's just get into it. And you guys, there will be a part 2 to this, so stay tuned for that. So let's start. Anyway, so let's start with Jeremiah 29:13. And you shall seek me and find me when you shall search for me with all your heart. So let's just talk about some research here. In 1988, the author and biologist Dr. David Deamer collaborated on a science art project which consisted of measuring the vibrational frequencies of the four DNA-based molecules, translating them into sound, and programming them into a Yamaha synthesizer and using this tuning system as the basis for original compositions. All right, so the realization of biological infrared frequencies into sound has resulted in unusual insights into the harmonic fabric of DNA, and reactions from listeners suggest that our bodies may have a way of recognizing their own electromagnetic patterns through the resonance of tone. Like I've been saying, everything is on a frequency. Everything is on a frequency. All right. So let's look at the structure of DNA because this is what they used to make the music, right? That they did in this research. So here's the DNA structure. And most DNA is found in the nucleus of a cell where it forms the chromosomes. Chromosomes have proteins called histones that bind to DNA. Now, pay attention to the words I'm using, like bind. DNA has two strands that twist into the shape of a spiral ladder called a helix. So that's what you see here is twisting, right? Also looks like a harp, huh? So DNA has two strands that twist into the shape of a spiral ladder called a helix, and that's what we're looking at here. And DNA is made up of four building blocks called nucleotides. And here they are. Here's the guanine, and I'm probably saying it wrong, guys, sorry. Then you have cytosine, adenine, and thymine. So these were the four DNA bases that they used for their research, right? And they were able to use these four to make music or make sound. Okay, pretty interesting, right? All right, so here you have genes are short pieces of DNA that carry specific genetic information. So I'm gonna give you a little background so you know we can follow along here. So let's take a look at the four building blocks of life. So adenine is a chemical compound that is used to make one of the building blocks of DNA and RNA. So we've been hearing a lot about this, right? All right. It is also a part of many substances in the blood that give energy to cells. It is a purine, which means it's a nitrogen base that holds. So in the other one, we saw that it binds, and now we see that it holds DNA strands together. And then you have cytosine, and that's a pyrimidine base, and it codes genetic information in DNA and RNA. So it codes genetic information. All right, listen to the words I'm using. Then you have guanine, that's a purine, and that codes genetic information in the chain of DNA and RNA also. Okay, and here they are. So when you see them talking about DNA, RNA, and all these things, this is the four building blocks of life. It's the four building blocks of life. And when you think about the treatment plan, think about this, the building blocks of life. All right. So remember the constellation Cancer? And a lot of you picked up on it. I didn't even have to say anything. And I love that I can just lead you to it, guys. And a lot of y'all will pick up on it. Most of you notice that Cancer looks like a Y chromosome. You guys, we can't make this stuff up. We cannot make this stuff up. The Most High is very strategic in how he built this, our world and our universe. nothing is done just to be done. Everything has a meaning. It all intertwines. All right, so let's remember Cancer. Remember the name Al-Sartan, who holds or binds together? And then you had the Hebrew to bind together. You remember those some of the same words that was used with DNA, bind, hold. Then you have the Greek name Karkinos, holding or encircling. And then you have the ancient Akkadian name Sukulna, or possessor of seed. Accubine, sheltering or hiding place. See, a lot of times when you heard that word, sheltering or hiding place, a lot of people probably just automatically thought, when things start popping off, the Most High gonna physically hide you somewhere. And that's fine. Because I told you, when you're dealing with the stars, it has many different meanings. But you have to put it in context. This is like precept on precept, line upon line. It's like a puzzle, you guys. That's why I put that text up. You have to search after the Most High with all your heart and mind, and he will show you. He put so many hints out there for us to get it because he knew they was going to distort the word. And that's why you have to be moving with the Holy Spirit. Wisdom, sheltering or hiding place. When it comes to DNA, what might he be hiding? So let's look the 4 building blocks of life. Now, this is the one that I really like here. This is the thymine, and it's also abbreviated as T. You can see this T or thigh. Now, remember I told you prefix and suffix are important when you're looking at some of these words because you can get meanings from the prefix, right? Like how we did re and co. We were able to break down the meaning of some of these words, right? So let's look at it here. So in terms of mutation in Cancer, if the natural chemical structure of the thymine, which is this one here, if it's defected, the DNA is mutated, which can lead to the formation of melanoma, right? So a common use of DNA mutation involving thymine is the response to ultraviolet light. So if it's comes in contact with light, from what they're saying, it mutates. And you guys remember the movie The Hulk. When he was exposed to that gamma radiation, what happened to him, guys? What happened to him? If you go back and watch 2003 of that movie, before the movie starts, they have like a lot of like little captions where they're talking about regenerated and they're talking about DNA and all kinds of stuff. Watch it. Go back and watch it, guys, because they put this stuff right out in front of us. That's what happens with lesser magic. They have to put it out there. And if you get it, hey. But most people, it just flies over their head because they're being programmed by the movie, right? And not even paying attention. But see, now we're going to be zoning in on what they're saying. All right. So thymine in space. So in 2015, NASA scientists reported that evidence of thymine had been formed in a laboratory under conditions that simulated outer space, right? So meteorites often contain chemical substances such as pyrimidine, polycyclic, aromatic hydrocarbons. So this was used as a starting base in the laboratory. So whenever they had meteorites, they took that and they were able to do some lab work with it. And look at what they found out. Under simulated conditions, the scientists were able to produce thymine, right, which is this, DNA, uracil, and cytosine. These nucleobases form a considerable sector of the building blocks of life. Because guys, they're cloning like crazy. Suggested that under specific conditions in outer space, life form could be created. So let's look here. So this is one of the building blocks of life, and that's when you have the meteorites. that's what's in the meteorites, right? Stay with me, guys. Let me just go here. So December 4th, Geminids, a meteor shower, meteorites radiate out from the constellation Gemini. And they said that this is going to be so colorful. If you have a telescope, you can get out and look at it. So it started December 4th, right? And then December 13th and 14th, and today is the 14th. Actually, I think, isn't today the day of the solar eclipse? Tonight? It peaks tonight. And remember, I told you what's in it. DNA. Thymine is DNA. It's actually it's actually one of the 4 building blocks of life. And in this meteor shower, that's what's coming down. I need somebody to jump on this frequency, this wave with me right now. Because you guys, do you see what is happening? Remember Gemini, which was the twins, we talked about that, the united. Something was being united. The Messiah's reign is Prince of Peace. The Amam, the United States. Aldera, the seed. The Amen, the united. I didn't mean to say United States, guys. I'm sorry. And then you had Canis Major, which was Sirius, the prince. And Canis Minor, the exalted redeemer. And the enemy, Lepus. Enemy underfoot. But look here. December 13th through 14th. Now let's look at the thigh, right? Thigh, the prefix. What does it mean? Mind, soul, or emotions. Mind, soul, or emotions. Combining forms denoting mind, soul, emotions. The mind or heart as the seat of a strong feeling or passion. Remember, Gemini was the united. The united mind, soul, the Most High seed. He's bringing it all together, guys, and then he's giving you life. And they've been researching these things, guys. They've been researching it. So let's go ahead. Let's just jump on right on into it. So remember I told you that they were using the DNA to make sound and make music. They were testing it and putting it through a synthesizer, a Yamaha. And so this is what they came up with. This is your DNA, adenine, the basis of life. Thymine, guanine, cytosine. If I'm messing up the words, guys, I'm sorry. So you have wave and hertz and numbers. So here's the hertz over here. And you can see for each DNA, it has a frequency. It has a hertz. And it also has the note, a musical note that is assigned to that DNA. And then you have the wave. Remember we showed you the wave and the frequency and I think it was the ley lines and gamma and the 144. You guys can go back and look at those videos. I'm sorry. So I'm going to leave this here. You guys take a look at it. They've been doing extensive research on DNA. They've been doing extensive research on DNA. So then if you were to spread it out on a keyboard, their findings, then you have the octaves, right? Here are the notes. Remember those notes? You hit those notes, your DNA corresponds with it. It's all connected, guys. And take a look. Here, the research that they got, they found out that DNA is higher than all these different sounds. So here you have infrasounds, which is what elephants and moles hear. The human ear can only hear between 20 to 20,000. Then dogs and cats. This is why animals, they can hear more than we can hear. That's why they hear somebody walking from across the street. And then the dolphins and bats, they're next. This is the ultrasounds. But DNA is off this chart. So they had to scale it into these octaves, right? They had to scale it. So is DNA communicating with us, guys, through sound? Let's take a look. So let's look at the frequency of water. Stay with me, guys. Frequency of water So each base of those molecules, after it was exposed to light, yielded about 15 to 18 frequencies. That's what you saw here. So once it was exposed to light, these were the different, all these different frequencies came up, right? Okay. So there are 4 frequencies that appear in DNA. F, C, A, D. Your DNA resonates with these. Here. Your DNA resonates with those. The sound of DNA, guess what it does, guys? It wakes up your nervous system and put it on alert. Remember my video about the ley lines being the nervous system of the earth? Okay. So everything in nature is connected to sound. Everything is connected to sound, guys. Water cells have a frequency of 432 Hz. Now, 432 Hz is the harmonic intonation of nature, and it's closely related to 8Hz, which is said to be the fundamental beat of the earth, which is what, guys? Schumann resonance. It's a ley line. Remember we talked about this in the ley line video? That Schumann resonance, it was activated by lightning, light. So the ordinary thought wave for human brain ranges from 14 Hz to 40 Hz. If the 2 hemispheres of our brain, your right and your left side, are synchronized with each other at Hz, they work more harmoniously and with a maximum flow of information. So when you're on this vibration with what? The earth, the heartbeat of the earth, right? When you're on this, you have the maximum flow of information. Now you see why they set up on these ley lines? Let's take it a little deeper. The frequency of 8Hz seems to be the key to the full and sovereign activation potential of your brain. Mark 11:23. That whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be removed, be cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he said shall come to pass, he shall have whatever he said. Now do we see? Why is this information important for us guys to know? Comment down below. Why is this important for you to know? See, if they can find out what type of music our DNA resonates with, they can also find out how to play music on certain vibrations and frequency to interfere with your thinking and throw your whole body off. And this is why you see with the ley lines, why they're on these certain power places. They're pulling the energy from the earth. If they can get the earth off sync, guess what? We're gonna be off sync. We're not moving in our potential, the highest level. See, the Melchizedek priesthood, this is what they were able to do. They were able to have control over the elements, earth, wind, fire. Remember we talked about those in the other video? The Melchizedek priesthood was able to have control over those things. Look at the miracles that they did. Look at what Yeshua was able to do. And he says that we will be able to do greater things. But there's been something in the way. So again, why is it important that we know all of this information? I told you we're moving into a time. Some people say we're already there. Some people say, hey, we're not. But look at the information that we're getting. Anyway, guys, I have a part 2 to this. Stay tuned for that. Leave your comments down below. You guys, thank you for stopping by the channel. And shalom.